I'm telling you, folks, I'm telling you, I still don't get it. I still don't get it. But the thing is, I went on a journey with this book. It was a difficult journey. I persevered. Halfway through it, I came to an epiphany. I came to two epiphanies. One of the epiphanies led me down a path towards depravity, and I had to abandon that epiphany. But then the second epiphany saved me and relieved me of the burden that I feel whenever I read these Redwall books and I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand what's going on. This is going to be one of the most controversial book reviews that I do on this channel. Keep in mind, I fought through the pain, and I will explain the pain, and I will explain the journey. I will explain my problems I have with this book, and then we will all see the light. I'm Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart and the Lonesome Crown, all published by Simon & Schuster Saga Press. Today, I'm going to be reviewing book number 2 in the Redwall series, Mossflower. Yeah, if you saw my review of Over Here Redwall, you know that I was massively confused by what was going on in the story, which is ridiculous because it's a story for kids, and I'm a grown adult, and I didn't get what... I was lost from the get-go. I was like, okay, the story's about little animals, like little mice. So I'm picturing little mice, and they're in little monk outfits, little pirate outfits. They're dressed as little knights in shining armor, and it's cute. It's like Pixar movie, cute. And then I'm thinking, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, so now these mice live in a world created clearly based off of the descriptions. And if you watched my review of this, of Redwall, you know that I was not the only one lost and confused by the scale of the items, animals, buildings, and everything else within this universe. And it was maddening. And this book didn't help. We've got little mice. Okay, we've got little mice. They're little. They live in what I was assuming an abbey. They live in an abbey. It's a little mice, and they live in an abbey that's built by humans. Everything seems to be built by humans initially because it's really big. There's a big hay cart with a massive-sized horse pulling the hay cart, and it's got 500 warrior rats on it, like a rat army. 500. I can see how 500 rats could fit on a normal-sized human hay cart. Makes sense. But then other things in the books stopped making sense. Like the abbey seemed to be fit for the mice. Everything seemed to be, and then the scale just threw me, and then Mossflower, I get into Mossflower, and the same things are happening. This is right from the get-go. We're like, the mice, the little teeny mice, they're carrying torches. Okay, well, but the forest is supposedly huge because the trees are huge, and they get in the hollows of the tree, and the tree is hollowed out, and it's like this big cathedral thing. But then at other times, the trees are like mice-sized trees. And then there's this eagle, this eagle that's Mossflower is the wooded land where all these animals live, and there's this eagle, and he's tormenting all the animals. And so the little mice have the little bows and arrows, and they're shooting. Well, if you're a little mouse, if you got a bow and arrow, well, your arrow's only going to be like the size of a little needle. When you shoot that at a full-grown bald eagle, it's pointless. It's pointless. And then they've got other weapons that they're fighting these massive other animals with, but it would be like just so pointless because the weapons are so tiny because they're tiny little mice. And I'm thinking to myself, what's going on? And they've got trees that are sometimes huge, trees that are sometimes mice-sized trees, and then they're eating fish that would normally seem like the size of a whale to a mouse, but then no, they're just eating a little tiny fish. And then I can't understand what's happening. And then they're carrying torches. They're carrying torches and they're building fires. Well, what are they building the fires out of? Because are the trees these massive things? And if little mice are building little teeny fires, well, that's useless. Carrying little teeny mice torches the size of a matchstick, well, that's gonna burn out in like 2.5 seconds. Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. I didn't get it. I was lost. And then because the scale is off. This eagle whose name is Argular, or as I was calling him, Aguilar, because there's a wide receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders named Nelson Aguilar. So I was calling the bad eagle who's menacing all the mice. His real name's Argular, but I kept calling him Aguilar, and that's not helping because things are they human-sized or are they not human-sized? And then I came to my epiphany. We'll get to the book review here soon. Well, because I did like the book. We came to my epiphany. My first epiphany was, I know what's going on. I know what's going on in this. This is furry. They're furries. It's actual humans dressed in furry outfits. It's like furry cosplay fetish porn. That's what the Redwall series is. I figured I've cracked the code. The scale now makes sense if it's furries. Because then the bow and arrows makes it what they're shooting and then torches and all, and the riding horses that are normal sized horses rather than, it all makes sense if they're furries. And then I got to thinking, well, from what I know of the furry universe, from what I know of the furry culture, maybe it's not because if they were furries, then, well, at least 90% of them would, be, at least 90% of the critters would be wearing diapers. Because there's, diaper play in furry. Or so I've been told. I think that's what happens in furry fetish cosplay. And then you look at the cover, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm wrong about the furry thing. Because we look at the cover and we got a mouse and he's wearing a cape. And he's naked underneath. He don't have no diaper on. So clearly that epiphany was incorrect. It is not furry fetish porn. It's what it is. It's like little mice, and the scale is still. So I was just still like, oh my god, the scale. These books are for children. I'm going down such a dark path. I can't. These children's books are taking me down a dark path, and I'm falling into the realm of. I'm breaking up. I'm in over my head here, folks. I'm in over my head. And so I Googled. I had to Google this because I'm not the only one that's freaked out. I'm not the only adult that's freaked out by the scale of the animals in relation to everything else in the world. Doesn't make sense, and it's all so inconsistent everywhere. It's blowing my mind. So I Googled Redwall animals, scale issues, and a video came up on YouTube. The video channel, Culturally Fucked, they have a video describing this very phenomenon of the entire Redwall series, and they agree. The scale is way wonky in these books, especially the first few. But what they recommend is, if you're an adult, these books are meant for children. So if you're an adult, yes, it's gonna screw with your mind. What you need to do is take a step back, relax, realize it's just a story. They're just cute little books about little animals wearing pirate outfits and, monk outfits and dressing as kings and queens and just having a merry little time. There's nothing to get worked up about in this book. And I was like, they're right. Culturally Fucked was right. And the weight that was lifted from my shoulders, the burden, the monkeys that I was carrying on my back, suddenly were lifted from my shoulders as if by angels. And I was born again. I no longer cared about the scale. I still kind of care about the scale. But not as much. Culturally Fucked. And their wonderfully put together video on Redwall made me realize I just need to take a chill pill, relax, just enjoy the story for what it is. And because I do enjoy the stories. Brian Jacques, he writes a great story. And that I collected all the books because I love the covers. We always discuss the covers in my book reviews. And these covers are absolutely great. I love the paintings by Mr. Howell, who did all the work, and then the inside, there's on the insides, there's every chapter of every one of these books has its own little illustrated chapter heading. Just delightful stuff. So I got over myself. We're done discussing the scale issues and being upset and having anxiety over it. At least I think we're about done. I mean, I was going to some dark, dark places, people. I was contemplating Satanism. That's how worked up these books were getting me. I thought I was in some sort of sorceress realm, clockwork funhouse that just everything in my whole entire life stopped making sense until Culturally Fucked put up that video and I watched it and it relaxed me. What is Mossflower about? Well, Mossflower is the prequel to Redwall. You know, in Redwall, we heard about the legend of Martin the Warrior and his great sword. Well, in this book, we get to meet Martin the Warrior. He's thrown in prison. We have this bad queen, this evil queen that's taken over the woodland of Mossflower, and she's a bad queen, and her name is like something like Sarina or Sarimanina. It's T-S-A-R, and I can't remember how you spell it, but she's just a bad queen, and then there's this eagle, Aguilar, who just flies over the woods, just tormenting everybody, and the little mice with their little... Maybe I'm not over the scale thing, people. I don't know how the mice fight this eagle, because I know how big golden eagles are in comparison to mice. And I don't care if you got 20,000 mice shooting arrows up at it. Mice-sized arrows, the eagle's just going to be swatting that shit out of the way. But anyway, okay, I'm starting to spiral back into demented land. Got to pull it out. Got to pull it together, Durfee. Pull it together. Keep it together for this video. Keep it together. Martin the Warrior, he's thrown into prison. He meets the thief, and then he meets Kinney, the mole, and they go on a journey because they want to. They go on a journey. The thief and the mole and Martin the Warrior, they go on a journey to Salomon Anstrom, the volcano, or the lair of the dragons, the land of the dragons, to find the boar, who is the greatest warrior of all time. He's called the boar. And they're like, we're going to go on this quest for the boar. We're going to bring the boar back, and he is going to fight the evil queen, the evil eagles, and everything else that's going bad in, also, it's a very delightful story. It's a quest. There's so much adventure, so many cool things and ideas in this book that I'm glad that I'm over my issues. I'm glad that I've settled into the story, which that video by Culturally Fucked, they said, settle into the story. Don't worry about the scale. If you're an adult, just take a chill pill, relax, enjoy it for what it is. Just pretend like you're watching a Pixar movie about cute little animals, and everything is happy and everybody is having fun, because these are ultimately children's books, you know. They're not, adults just... I'm a grown adult, and I was almost completely undone by Redwall because I couldn't figure out the scale, anything that was happening in these books. I still am. Lost. But I got over it. I'm over it! These are such good little books, though. Oh, and Brian Jacques writes absolutely gorgeously. His writing is so gorgeous. And he puts you right into the medieval flavor of everything that's going on. And so everything is just wonderfully written, wonderfully described. The animals, when they do converse with each other, they're just great. When Martin meets the thief in the dungeons, and they're back and forth, and the way they talk to each other is just great. I mean, I wish Pixar would just do all 20 books as Pixar movies and just make these into the magical things that they need to be. And when they do it, they should probably fix the scale. I liked Mossflower. I know I didn't talk a whole lot about the plot. We don't do plot spoilers. This was more of a rant. This is more of a video of me just getting a lot of working out a lot of my own demons. I don't see a therapist. I mean, you all are my therapists. I just come out here and vent onto y'all and throw in a book review in the middle of my vents. Mossflower, great book, and I can't wait to read the others. And we're over the scale issue, so that's not going to dominate any of the other videos. When I do the when I read these books, I'm not going to. We're done discussing it, folks. We're done. I can't really promise anything. Honestly, I don't want to I can't. I know myself too well. I give this 9 out of 10. The entire series, so far the first 2 books, wonderful. Wonderful. All joking aside, these are damn good books. Damn good books.